The 2013 Renault ZOE. Over the years, we have seen the Renault ZOE make its way into various car shows as a concept car, but nothing ever really came of it. Here we are approaching the 2013 model year and finally, Renault is announcing that it is releasing its first production bespoke EV car in the form of the oft-teased ZOE. Sure, it's no Ferrari or Lamborghini, or even a Tesla for that matter, but it is progress toward removing ourselves from exhaustible oil. It is rather surprising to see electric vehicles taking their sweet time developing in European market, as those countries have been hit the hardest and longest with inflated gasoline prices. European buyers and automakers have been relying more on building high-efficiency diesel and gasoline engines, while us folks in the US have focused more on the EV and hybrid routes. The real question here is, can the Renault ZOE make enough of an impact to pull buyers away from these ultra-economical petrol and diesel models? And can the ZOE help start the domino effect that the Prius did here all those years ago? Click past the jump to read all about the Renault ZOE and get answers to these questions. Exterior. On the outside of the ZOE, you get a pretty standard European supermini hatchback with a modern twist. Renault took great strides to make sure the ZOE stands out in a crowd, giving it a rounded face, super modern headlights with LED daytime running lamps, and a pair of cheekbone-like side marker lights. At the base of the fascia, you get a small mouth that completes the car's rather impressive face. Down the side of the ZOE, you start to see the plain old Euro hatchback stamping come into play. Only a few minor styling keys, like the hidden rear door handle and swooping body line on the rear door, stand out. The rest of its side profile is pretty much blah. Unfortunately, Renault didn't offer up a view of the ZOE's backside, as it looks rather interesting from what we can see of it. We're sure we'll get a glimpse of it soon enough though. Renault doesn't get into what rims come standard on the base Expression model, but you can add on 16-inch Aerotronic wheels for £310, $498 at the current exchange rates. For an added fee, you can opt for 17-inch Tech Run alloy wheels. This optional kit has a buy-in of £400, $643 at the current exchange rates. A common safety concern for people with EVs is the fact that they are so quiet that pedestrians may not hear you coming and walk out without looking. Renault addressed this by including ZE Voice standard. ZE Voice is an alarm system that is audible from 1 mpg to 18 miles per hour. The driver can choose from one of 3 different alarm sounds, or he can turn it off altogether if he wants to be a little sneakier. Standard exterior equipment on Expression. ZE Voice Renault keycard tinted rear windows, RAID automatic door locks. Standard exterior equipment on Dynamique Intense and Dynamique Zen. 16-inch Aerotronic alloy rims, Renault keycard with hands-free functionality, automatic headlights, automatic wipers, rear parking sensors, rear parking camera, Intense only. Interior. With the complexity of electric cars, we often see their interiors become very cluttered and confusing, leaving the driver to feel like he's in a space shuttle rather than a car. Renault took a rather calm approach with the ZOE, fitting it with its own R-Link system that includes a 7-inch screen in the center stack, steering wheel mounted buttons, and voice recognition to help clean up some of the car's functions. The dashboard area is clean and clear, only featuring the R-Link interface and basic climate control knobs. The dashboard features a 3-tone setup with a dark undertone highlighted by a lighter insert that is surrounded by a third accent color, in the Dynamique Zen trim level. This tri-tone format continues throughout the inside of the car, on the door panels, steering wheel, and gear shifter. Unfortunately, we don't get a look at the base dashboard setup, but we're sure it doesn't vary too much. A really neat optional feature is that the ZOE will heat or cool itself while the car is charging. This eliminates the need to drastically cool or heat the cabin once you start driving, which can have a big impact on battery consumption. For a relatively low-priced EV, the Renault ZOE comes relatively well equipped. It comes standard with an 80-watt, 4-speaker stereo system, R-Link with TomTom navigation, USB port, Bluetooth connectivity, climate control, cruise control, ISO-FIX mountings on passenger and outer rear seats, TFT gauges, and tilt and telescoping wheel. Given the fact that Renault pretty much packed the base model to the gills, the Dynamique trims only add minor details. Things like a leather-wrapped steering wheel and a 140-watt stereo. On the Intense trim level, you get Intense dark interior ambience. On the Zen model, Renault tosses in the Zen light interior ambience pictured with Teflon seat protection and Zen Take Car by Renault, which adds in an active scent diffuser, ionizer, and a toxicity sensor. Standard interior equipment on Expression: 80-watt 4-speaker stereo system R-Link with TomTom navigation, USB port, Bluetooth connectivity, climate control, cruise control, ISOFIX mounts, passenger seat and outer rear seats, TFT gauges, tilt and telescoping wheel. Standard interior equipment on Dynamique Intense and Dynamique Zen: leather-wrapped steering wheel, 140-watt stereo, Intense dark interior ambience, Intense trim only, Zen light interior ambience with Teflon seat protection, Zen trim only, Zen Take Car by Renault, active scent diffuser, ionizer and a toxicity sensor, Zen trim only, motor, battery, and drivetrain. Under the hood of the ZOE houses a synchronous electric motor that produces up to 65 kilowatts, 88 horsepower, and 220 newton-meters, 162 pound-feet of torque immediately. That's one of the wonders of electric cars, there is virtually no torque band at all, just straight to full power. Renault did not offer up a 0 to 60 time, but it did release that its top speed is 84 miles per hour. Because the ZOE is direct drive, like most electric vehicles, its acceleration is smooth and shift-free. The total range of the ZOE is 130 miles, but Renault stays honest by clarifying this is only a reference. In real-world driving, Renault claims a 60-mile range in cold-weather city driving and 90 miles when driving in warmer climates in the city. The ZOE's Chameleon charger is compatible with all power levels up to 43 kilowatts, so there is no need to fumble around with buying adapters. The charging time depends on the type of charging station you use, but it ranges from 30 minutes to 9 hours. Motor and drivetrain specifications. Pricing. The beautiful thing about the Renault ZOE is its pricing. It starts off as low as £14,444.44, $23,241 at the current rates, with a tax credit that drops its price to £13,650, $21,962 at the current rates. It does range upward from there, depending on the trim level you select. On top of the base price, you will need to lease the battery, which ranges from £70, $112 at the current rates per month to £113, $181 at the current rates per month. Pricing details. Battery leasing. Competition. The EV competition in the UK isn't quite as stiff as it is here in the US, but that doesn't mean it's non-existent. A key competitor for the Renault ZOE will be the Mitsubishi i-MiEV. Let's start off with the plain fact that the i-MiEV just looks silly and the ZOE looks like a pretty conventional car, there is no doubting that. In fact, looks have been one of the more polarizing parts of EVs, as EV builders seem to think their buyers want oddly shaped cars. In terms of performance, the i-MiEV features a 49 kilowatts, 66 horsepower electric motor that also twists out 180 newton-meters, 133 pound-feet of torque, so it comes in well under the Renault. Its 81 miles per hour top speed and NEDC cycle of just 93 miles also puts it at a disadvantage. Lastly, the i-MiEV comes in at a heavier 23,990 pounds, $38,599 price tag, putting it well above the ZOE. Honestly, there is not real good light to shine on the Mitsubishi i-MiEV when comparing it to the Renault ZOE, unless you are one of those special people that simply needs a car that looks like it was ripped straight from the Jetsons. Conclusion. With the growing need for electric-powered cars, it is good to see Renault stepping up with a full-line EV to complement its Twizy. Plus, to build one that looks like a normal car and doesn't scream, "Look at me," is a nice change of pace for the EV world. Why on earth do auto manufacturers insist on making EVs look so damn weird? Thank you, Renault, for stopping this trend. Love it. Normal car looks with EV power, nice 130-mile range, plenty of goodies to choose from. Leave it 60-mile range in cold weather. Battery leasing is an expensive venture, likely very sluggish to 60 miles per hour.
If you liked this video, please share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to hit the subscribe button.